OMG BBG! Welcome back to the channel, BBGs. It is finally here. It's Xiphoid Xcalibur, the next evolution in the Xcalibur family of bays. It's been so long.
Yep, the last time we saw Xcalibur was Buster Xcalibur.
Yeah man, it's been so many years since the last iteration. Feels like an eternity since Buster Xcalibur. So this is the Xiphoid Xcalibur starter set. And of course it comes with the Power Custom Sword Launcher LR. This is going to be the most epic launcher to date, guaranteed.
And I kind of wish that Xiphoid Xcalibur came when the anime was still, going.
Word, it would have been so hyped to actually see Xiphoid Xcalibur within the anime. There's a lot of stuff going on this box. When you flip it around to the back, there's just like all these different graphics telling you about this release. So we are obviously going to have to go through that. Talks about the mode on the top. There is just, oh my god, so much stuff going on with this bay. It's amazing.
Pays homage to the original Xcalibur design. You can see a little bit of each design within this new Xcalibur.
Word, let's dive right in. So let's get started and look at the back of the box. There is so much going on, like I mentioned. We'll start off with the parts, obviously. We have the Xcalibur DB core, and then the Xiphoid blade, followed with the one armor. But it doesn't stop there. We got that Xanthus disc. The shape is looking crazy already.
Yo, the design is just so good.
It has that 1 point on there to match up with the sword on the blade, so this is going to be an epic combination. Now, probably the weakest part of the combo is going to be that sword dash driver. The original sword driver wasn't that good, and now we just have the same driver but with a better spring lock essentially. So those are the parts. That's obviously the star of the show, the bay itself, but we have a lot more going on with this bay. Down here, you can see that there is the launcher graphic here. So it's the sword launcher, the newest one, Power Custom Sword Launcher LR, very long name, but you can actually customize the gear unit, you can customize the spin unit. So this is an epic evolution of the sword launcher. And then next to the launcher graphic, we have this graphic here, this image that shows the different modes with the Xiphoid Xcalibur. So of course, when you first launch the bay, it starts with normal mode, and then once it unlocks a couple of times, it activates Ichigeki mode, which is basically the one-shot mode or the one-hit mode. So it gets very strong, and then that's when the DB core activates that extra metal, moving all of the weight to that 1 point at the sword, and then it hits way harder. But it doesn't stop there, because you also get the BU lock, which is just such a simple yet amazing way to make your bay burst even less, make those locks even stronger. So the BU lock also activates pretty much at that point. So not only does it hit harder, but your bay is also going to be harder to burst. So it does show you some focus points there on the Xanthus disc and on the back of the DB core.
Just so many features and gimmicks. You can really appreciate the little details.
That is pretty much it. That is the meat of this release. The only thing left is to unbox it. But right before we do that, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next video. You can find us on Instagram at Geek Dosage and on TikTok at BeybladeGeeks Official. Now, if you want to get your own Xiphoid Xcalibur or any other Beyblade Burst product, make sure you check out our friends over at Zen Market. Zen Market is a proxy shipping service that will get you Japanese goods straight from Japan. They only attach a small 300 yen fee for every item that you purchase. Zen Market has a ton of selection because they use a bunch of different marketplaces. You're basically searching on a bunch of different databases like Amazon Japan, Yahoo Auctions, Rakuten. So if you can't find it on one marketplace, you'll definitely be able to find it on the other ones. We have our own showcase page on Zen Market with a bunch of our bay recommendations, so go ahead and check it out. If you sign up with our link, you'll get 300 yen for free. So that's going to help you cover that service fee for that first bay that you're looking for. Zen Market is updating their inventory every single month when a new bay drops. So if you're looking for the latest and greatest bay products, they have it. Go check them out.
It's unboxing time.
Let's go. Great purchase overall. You guys have to buy this one. Haven't even actually opened up the bay itself, but we already need to tell you that you need to get this. Oh, amazing. Look how big this layer is. Holy.
Looks pretty bare right now, but I'm sure it'll look way nicer once the stickers are on.
It's looking thick. Alright BBGs, here we are with all of the parts. It's looking so fresh. The stickers were so satisfying to put on, nice and big, and obviously it just made everything pop so much more. And let's start with the DB core. You have the big X in the middle there, highlighted by a blue sticker. Looks so fresh, so nostalgic. This DB core actually has two special features. So of course, the metal sword. The main body of the sword is actually inside this DB core. It is actually recessed when you first launch the Bey, and then after it unlocks twice, it'll actually shoot out, and then all of the weight is focused at the point on the blade.
So our previous Xcalibur design, we actually saw the tip itself come out as an activation, but with Xiphoid Xcalibur, the activation is actually in the middle of the sword, inside the DB core.
Yeah, it's nice that Takara Tomy actually mixed it up here. Integrating the metal sword into the DB core feels very modern. Xcalibur is now keeping up with the times.
So once the sword springs out, you gotta reset every single time before you launch it. So you just have to remember to click it back in.
Second very important feature is actually on the back of the DB core. As you saw on the back of the box, this DB core features the BU lock. It is actually really hard to tell, but there are two very small tabs on the back of this DB core, which will fit in together with the Xanthus disc to provide you that extra resistance. We'll go into that a little bit more once we actually review the Xanthus disc, but this is a nice subtle feature that Takara Tomy has come up with, and it's probably very effective. Alright, let's move on over to the Xiphoid BU blade. Is it just me, or does this actually really look like Siege Excalibur, just slightly bigger? That's what the shape reminds me of anyways. Let me know what you guys think. Traditionally, like Steven was saying, you would think that Takara Tomy would put the metal sword into the BU blade design here. Xiphoid actually doesn't have that much of the sword in its design. It actually just has the plastic tip there. The tip does protrude out just like any other Xcalibur Bey. This point, of course, is supposed to line up with the Xanthus disc, and then once the weight shifts from the DB core activation, this point is going to hit very hard.
Takara Tomy actually did such a good job designing these new Beys.
Yeah, for real, they went all out for this Xiphoid Excalibur, and we ain't even done yet. So next is the Xanthus disc. The shape is pretty abnormal, as you can see. It's kind of round.
The disc itself has the concentrated sword tip point.
Yeah, exactly. Once the Bey unlocks twice, the Xanthus disc would have shifted over a couple of times, and the point on the Xanthus disc should line up perfectly with the point on the blade. And like we were talking about earlier, the Xanthus disc features the BU lock, so you need this disc in combination with the DB core to actually have the BU lock feature. It's kind of hard to spot, but if you take a close look at the metal tabs, where normally there would be like a symbol engraved on this disc, helping you distinguish which disc this is, instead, these tabs have raised metal pieces, and these make contact with the plastic tabs on the DB core, which in turn makes the Bey harder to burst. And a neat feature that Takara Tomy actually talked about is that the disc will actually stop rattling. It locks it up so tight that there's actually barely any movement on the disc.
Yo, can't believe it took like, what, 7 years for Beyblade Burst to figure out that, you know, you can actually reduce the rattling of the disc.
Yeah, when you think about it, it's such a simple design for a burst lock.
This BU lock disc actually worked with the other BU layers like Belio. So they actually designed those grooves when BU became a thing.
Yeah, it was kind of like an Easter egg when BU first started. People noticed that there were some grooves there in that core, and everyone's just like, okay, what's that for? Like, it's gotta be for some sort of upgrade later on, not knowing what it was for at all. Now, if you use the Xanthus disc with the Belio 2 DB core, you can also use that BU lock feature. Now, let's talk about the armor. Just like any other armor, there might be like one distinguished feature, but there's usually not that much to say about the armor pieces. So with the one armor, as the name suggests, there is a little bit of extra weight on one end of the armor piece.
It's so cool that the armor itself also got that point that sticks out, so it matches pretty perfectly.
Yep, following the theme. Last, but probably the least, we got that sword dash driver. So this is an upgraded version of the sword driver that came with Buster Excalibur. Tighter spring lock, obviously making the combo harder to burst. Movements with this one was kind of like eh.
Because there is that two protruded blade that tend to scrape a lot.
Yeah, those protrusions on the driver don't even line up with the points on the rest of the combo, so it's actually useless. in the original, if you tipped over just a little bit, it would touch the stadium floor and then you're kind of screwed, right? Like you kill all your stamina. Alright, so that was the Bey, but before we actually put it together, you cannot forget about the brand new Power Custom Sword Launcher LR. I'm gonna mix up that name, for sure. But this is it, guys. This is the brand new sword launcher. Overall, it still does look very similar to the previous iterations, but you do get the brand new DB system, or the DB launcher system. So it comes with the power gear unit, of course, like that, which was originally introduced with, you know, the Savior Valkyrie. And then the spin unit, this is just like a normal one, but you can also switch this out too. The sword ripcord actually doesn't come out unless you have your gear unit in here. But this one's also very similar as well to the old one. So yeah, dual spin, right? There's little engravements there that say L and R, so you can use it with both your left and right spin. Hopefully this doesn't break as easily as the digital sword launcher and the original, but I have a feeling that this will actually be quite a bit more durable.
I think this Bey is pretty memorable, partly because of the sick sword launcher, man. That first gen sword launcher, I personally feel like it's still relevant today.
Yeah, I agree. The sword launcher still feels pretty good when you use it, but it lacks the power now, so hopefully this one will actually make up for that. Okay, now it's time to put the Bey together for you guys. So I find that it's actually easier if you put the armor in first like that. And we'll put in low mode, obviously, because that's the better mode for the most part. Lock in the tabs, and we'll put the Xanthus disc in like this. Driver. Oh, pretty tight. Nice. There we go. That is the completed Xiphoid Xcalibur. Let us know what you guys think of this Bey. Looking pretty good.
And then here it is in the high mode.
Yeah, let's put it in high mode for you guys, just so you know what it's like. Obviously, we're not going to use in this mode as much. All right, then disc on as well. And when you unlock it twice, there you go.
You can really see that point line up directly with the blade.
So you have sword from the, or point from the Xanthus disc, point from the blade, point from the armor, and then the body of the sword there, the main shaft of the sword.
There's actually so many sword gimmick in this Bey.
Just so many things lining up. Okay, let's weigh the Bey.
So the full combo weighs
79.01 grams. Wow, not too bad at all. So it doesn't weigh quite as much as our Gatling Dragon. Obviously, this was over 80 grams, but still a pretty heavy combo. Just less than a gram short from hitting that 80 mark.
And of course, we gotta do a test battle with Xiphoid Xcalibur.
Yeah, let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, it looks so sick in the stadium.
Yeah, the Bey's moving pretty quick, but the sword dash driver, I feel like it's the downfall here.
It sounds like it's hitting hard, but oh yeah, stamina is so bad. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, the new sword launcher feels so good.
Yeah, but I feel like something is missing though. Like, I really feel like a rubber driver will make this Bey shine.
Definitely need to battle in the standard type stadium. DB just nerfs it. Oh, the huge hit. Oh my god. Dude, stamina's so bad. Need to change that driver. 3, 2, 1, go. Yo, it's so hard. Yo, peace.
Yep, like we expected, it's hitting pretty hard.
So that is it for the unboxing on Xiphoid Xcalibur. Let us know what you think down in the comment section below. This Bey, in my opinion, is pretty sick. The biggest weak point is the sword dash driver, but that's like, you could just change out the driver and it'll be pretty cool. It's been so many years since the last iteration, so it's a no-brainer. You have to buy this Bey. Plus, you get this sick launcher too, right? It's so powerful and it feels so good when you use it. It's just a must-have. So that's pretty much it. Like this video, subscribe, and as always, geeks out.